Welcome back, Particle People. We're going to be talking about some more Magic today. First, we're going to take a look back at Final Fantasy, how did it do, all things considered, and then on to the future, what's coming in Edge of Eternities. There will be light spoilers for the new set in the second half of this video, so I'd highly suggest not watching it if you hate it, okay? No spoilers intended, here's your spoiler warning. But I digress. How did Final Fantasy do as far as a set now that all the dust is settled? And I'll be entirely honest, it did phenomenally. I don't like it because it was the first ever Universes Beyond to be integrated inside of Standard itself, and I still think that's a fundamentally bad idea, but honestly a lot of the things I was initially concerned about just didn't come to pass. One thing that is still a sticking point and makes me very upset with the set is the price point being elevated. We shouldn't have to pay more for main sets. If it's going to be in Standard, it should be the same price as all the other sets, and no, that doesn't mean raise the average price of Magic. It's already hard enough to buy the pretty cardboard. But I do like to be as honest as possible, so now I will give a couple of points in my previous videos that I was just entirely wrong about. Firstly, Vivi is great, a very fun card, and inside of a draft environment can really be dominant. However, inside of Standard, it did not make much of an impact whatsoever. There are a lot of decks that are built around Vivi and can pop off and be quite powerful, but I'd say they're so few and far between that most of my sacrifice decks have kept on top of it. I have not lost that much to Vivi, and typically when I see it, you know, it's a gimmick more than anything else. The same thing is mostly true for the Buster Sword. While it's an incredibly powerful piece of equipment just isn't really doing what it needs to inside of the Standard environment. While it can be game-breaking inside of Commander and some people really love it, I don't think that this was a problem in Standard at all. In fact, I would wager that it was hard to play a lot of Final Fantasy cards on the Standard ladder in the first place when they were first introduced because there were so many powerful options, mostly from Red Prowess, which has since been banned, so now we can see a lot more of these cards actually in the arena. And to correct myself, I don't mean Red Prowess is banned, I mean just some of their biggest hitters have been removed from that format. However, in Commander, Final Fantasy is definitely one of the stronger sets of precons that have come out. I have had the pleasure of playing against all of the Final Fantasy precons at this point, and I can tell you that they all pack a punch. In fact, they pack a punch so much so, I think that their bracket system may have just changed a little bit, because bracket 2 was supposed to be the strength of an average precon, and they have certainly inched that up. And lastly, when it comes to the amount of people leaving Magic the Gathering due to this Universes Beyond entering Standard, I have to say it currently seems to be a vocal minority. There are a lot of people who I know that are sitting this set out entirely and maybe buying a single here or there on the secondary market, but I'd have to say most of the people I know who say they were actually leaving Magic the Gathering because of this are really just sitting the set out, and they'll probably be back for Edge of Eternities. And that kind of smoothly transitions to the final piece of data that we're going to be waiting for in the Final Fantasy set, which is going to be player retention of people who joined for this set. And I do think we probably initially lost some people considering the state of Magic the Gathering at the time, which is where most people who want to play Magic on a more casual basis will go to play some Standard, because getting to your local game shop's not always an option. And a lot of people who just wanted to play their Final Fantasy decks ended up meeting a gigantic mouse just one-shotting them, and I think that probably turned them off at the game. And I will eat my words, my initial perspective has been incorrect. I very much enjoyed the Final Fantasy set. I cracked and bought more product, and I thought it was a good time. I do not like the inflated price tag, but I will admit I was at least mostly wrong. So let's stop dwelling on the previous set and start looking towards the new set. Let's talk about Edge of Eternities, why I'm so excited, a few limited spoilers, and what I'm hoping to see. But first, my biggest concern, and that is that Final Fantasy did so well and it made so much money that I'm very afraid that Edge of Eternities isn't going to make that much money, and thus we're not going to be revisiting this theme. And I have to tell you, we are on the brink of losing a theme I very much love, which is space. Little backstory for you, my favorite set of all time is Unfinity, and that is a silly unset taking place in space that introduced the Galaxy foil, and let me tell you, that foil is hot, hot, hot. Okay, it's not like sexy or anything, but it looks good. It's really nice foil, and it's coming back in Edge of Eternity, so I need to get a bunch of collector's sets because oh my god do I love that foil. Also, in case you didn't know, unsets are incredibly rare because they are not Standard legal, and most of the cards aren't even Commander legal, but they are super fun, and the last one happened in space and I fell in love with it, and the lands, they look like this, and Edge of Eternities is bringing back more very pretty lands, and I am so excited, and I need them all in Galaxy foil. I cannot show you what Galaxy foil looks like specifically just because it's really hard to display on a screen. It's got like little stars and stuff inside the foil pattern. That's just really, really nice, and I love it, and I can't wait to get more of it. This set has already got me pumped up, and it's just for a foil treatment that I really like, but let's dive even deeper into that. We're going to start to talk about spoilers here, so if you're looking to dodge the spoilers, I'm sorry, the video should end here. I'm going to loosely be quoting things that may or may not be true, they have yet to be confirmed, and I'm going to show some pictures that we believe to be real. Spoiler warning out of the way, we're diving straight into the pictures of the lands that we have so far, as well as another card that has been revealed by Wizards of the Coast. Starting, do you see those lands? Do you take in the magnificence of how beautiful these lands are? These are either the best or second best lands to have ever been printed, and you're entitled to your opinion, but I will not budge on mine. Look at that island. That island is amazing. And on top of that, we get to see the new Tezzeret already, and I freaking love it when planeswalkers subvert my expectations instead of having some gigantic ultimate and instead have one that you can do multiple times. That first line of text that says whenever an artifact you control enters, you're going to be getting a loyalty counter on Tezzeret is huge, especially in decks that generate a bunch of Thopters or a bunch of clue tokens. This is going to be a must include in so many artifact decks because the upside is just so nice. Combos effortlessly with Kilo, which is one of the new commanders in the precons that'll be coming out for this set, because when Kilo gets tapped, it's going to go ahead and get a proliferate trigger, so go ahead, untap it, and find another way to tap it again. Perhaps with a convoke ability, which is in the set. On top of that, we have Shocklands in this set, which look phenomenal, but everybody knows what a Shockland does, so let's look at Sothera the Super Void instead, because this new legendary enchantment is everything I love about Magic. It is fair, it is powerful, it is just so cool looking. I love very powerful effects that have a self-limiting payoff, like this one where if a player cannot exile one of their creatures, instead at that end step, this is going to disappear and you're going to get to play one of those exiled creatures. Or rather, I should say one of those exiled creatures is going to enter the battlefield under your control. It's huge and it plays right at home with all of the other sacrificial bullshit that's filling up black, and I love it so much. These things were available from Magic the Gathering as the source, so let's get into the deeply speculative and things that we believe to be true but may not necessarily, and let's first talk about Star Trek. There's a lot of rumors that Star Trek is going to be a special guest inside of this set with cards printing out showing all of their lovely IP. And I think that's definitely a possibility. It may be something that occurs, although the evidence we have to go on right now is circumstantial at best. Personally think it's more likely that we get Star Trek rather than anything like Star Wars. I think in a terrible, terrible universe it would just be a bunch of Among Us references, especially considering we do have one Among Us card, kind of. That would be the Vote Out, which while this hasn't been officially confirmed, looks pretty legitimate. I could definitely see them just reskinning this to have Among Us characters as a special printout. I'm not entirely sure if they would do that, but once again, we don't know about Star Trek for sure, but I would personally bet that we're more likely to get Star Trek here. I think that is a very fitting placement. What I'm really excited about is a spoiler that shows a very particular art style, which I am all about because it's going to be combining the aliens and space that I love, as well as old movie posters, which once again, this is not confirmed, but this image is incredible. I would do anything to have this card. It is beautiful. If there are cards like this in the set, then my wallet is going to be completely empty. That's just going over the cards that I think are pretty. There are some cards that are also pretty powerful, like this little robot who likes poison counters, and I have a feeling this is going to be standard relevant. And lastly, we're going to look at another card that is right up my alley, which is Moonlit Meditation. This is just going to allow me to make so many fun token boys. I love cloning abilities, and this is just going to enable me even further. I hope you agree with me that this set needs to succeed. I love space as a flavor. I'm excited for the card treatments and some of the special arts. I hope you agree. But please, let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you really like the video, you should subscribe, but in the meantime, I'm going to be saving every penny I can get to buy more Edge of Eternities. As always, this has been Sand for Days. I'm Course, and I get everywhere. Bye-bye now.